All right, it is Doug Cunnington here. Welcome. You're in the right place. If you're looking for the 3 mistakes you must avoid if you want a profitable niche site. So we're logging on a little early to make sure everything is running well. So I am just making sure my audio is good and making sure everything looks how I would expect it. All right, I'm just going to go on mute here for a minute while I'm running around a bit. All right, Jim, you're on there, so I'm going to hide you from the podcast here. And there we go. All right. So Jim, can you hear me all right? I just want to do a little sound check. Can you type in the chat for me? All right, Vajkan, Croatia, welcome. Good to see you on here. Can you hear me okay, by the way? And Balslur, can you hear me all right? Bangladesh, good to meet you. Thanks for showing up. All right, and there is about like a 30-second delay or so on these Google Hangout type webinars. So it'll take me a second to actually, get your response back. And so this is the niche site webinar. So this is 3 mistakes you want to avoid if you want a profitable niche site. We're going to be talking about the content myth, a perfect Amazon review, and then the keyword golden ratio. So we'll also look at 5-figure niche site, and we'll come to that at the end. and we're about 13 minutes out or so from getting started. So just hang tight. We're going to cover a lot of material, so should probably remove any distractions, close your Facebook tab, and maybe silence your phone. I need to do that myself just to make sure. And yeah, just get ready, get yourself a drink and something to take notes with. So we'll get started in just a few minutes. All right. Thank Vajkin. Glad you can hear me. Very good. What time of the day is it there in Bangladesh and Croatia? And while we're waiting, I just have time to tell a story. So, hey Tim, good to meet you from Germany. Thanks for attending. Really appreciate it. So, I thought I was going to have the ability to have a second laptop over here. I have an old Windows machine. I normally use a Mac. This is a Mac that I'm talking into right now. But this Windows machine it was pretty old, but I just needed a web page to load. So turns out Windows tried to update while I went to the gym this morning. So it looks like that machine is locking up and basically not operating anymore. So it may make for a little bit more of a sloppy presentation. I may have to click over to my control panel a couple times, but it shouldn't be too bad. And hopefully it won't detract from the experience at all. So, but that's fun whenever Windows tries to upgrade something and it wrecks the computer, so you can't use it anymore. All right, this is the webinar that you're looking for about niche sites here. So this is 3 mistakes you want to avoid if you want a profitable niche site. We're going to be talking about a few things. So we'll look at the content myth, the perfect Amazon review, and of course, the keyword golden ratio. Then I'll tell you about something called 5-figure niche site. All right. And I see my little chat window is not cooperating, but I see we have someone from Canada. Welcome. Thanks for joining. I think that'll probably scroll down as more people chat here. All right, welcome to the webinar for today. I'm Doug Cunnington of Niche Site Project. My friend Jim is helping me out in the chat room there. You may know Jim Horner from some of the case study work that we're doing. We have a few posts up and he's starting a niche site himself. So, oh, Justin, I see you there now. Neighbor to the north. Thanks for coming. What part of Canada are you in, Justin? And I see Vajkin is 8 p.m. there. Here it's around noontime. So let's see. And then we have Anub. I'm going to butcher that name. I'm sorry. Anub Hub. Welcome. Thanks for joining. This is going to be the webinar on 3 mistakes you need to avoid if you want a profitable niche site. We'll be going over a few things, and it looks like we're about 8 minutes out or so, and it looks like the chat room's filling up, so that's good. All right. Oh, and this is a new sort of tool that I'm using here, so I haven't used it before, but I see Peter has raised his hand in a request, and I'm not sure what for, but perhaps you can send a message in the chat over to me. At least for the time being, I'll be able to view the chat and maybe answer, whatever you need. So a quick note, I will be doing a Q&A session at the end. I think we'll probably spend a lot of time on the Q&A. when you do ask your question in the chat, there's a way that you can note it as a question. You'll see like a small drop down, probably to the left of your chat field. So you could just select it as a question, and that'll go into the proper queue. So it'll be really easy for us to see, those questions. And another thing is, it'll be really good if you only ask questions about the topics that we talk about today. So that'll be the stuff that we cover in the presentation. So that is the content myth. We have the perfect Amazon review, and then we're going to talk about the keyword golden ratio, as well as 5-figure niche site, something I'll tell you about in a little bit. And let's see here. Alberta. Cool, Justin. Good to have you. And I'm assuming, I just want to make sure, like I said, this is the first time I've used this specific tool, but I want to make sure that you can see the little sticky note from me. So just in the chat, say, hey, yeah, I can see the sticky note. It says be cool in the chat. So everybody be nice there. And that way I'll just know that it's working. All right. Well, it looks like the Windows machine booted up, so I'm just going to give it a try. I know it's just ongoing commentary and a little stressful situation for me here, but nope, it doesn't look like it's working. So we'll just have to wing it. And if you just joined, this will be the webinar on niche sites, and I'll talk about a few things, but you may have missed the story earlier where I thought I was going to have an additional laptop to do some control panel things. I have a couple polls that I'm going to show you guys. So it may be a little clunky today because I don't have an extra laptop that is working. It turns out when Windows wanted to update something, it actually just made the machine unusable. So I'm just going to turn that off altogether so it doesn't take up any bandwidth here. So, all right. Cool. Hey, Tyler, what's up? How's it going? And it looks like Bob is a beer drinker. That is, in fact, a kegerator right there. So I have 6 taps in there. I homebrew a little bit, so I drink some beer. In fact, there'll be some beer-related topics in the presentation. So I just couldn't help myself to get that in there. Right. So welcome everyone. We're about 5 minutes out, and I just want to make sure that everyone's in the right place. So this is the webinar on 3 mistakes you want to avoid if you want to have a profitable Amazon affiliate niche site. And we'll get started in just a couple minutes, may wait a little bit after the top of the hour just to make sure everyone can join. We do have a full presentation, so I'm hoping we'll be able to get everything completed. I have time this afternoon. I don't have anything else, but there will be Q&A at the end. A lot of times those can last for a while, so I'll stick around for that and answer just about any question if it's related to the topic that we're covering. So, a lot of people may have different questions about niche sites. I may be able to do some of those, but definitely want to focus on just the sites just the questions that are about the topics that we're going to cover today, which are going to be the content myth, the perfect Amazon review, and then the keyword golden ratio is the third topic. And then finally, we'll go over the 5-figure niche site. So now we're just a few minutes out here. Just gonna make sure my iPad is running for us. All right, and I see we have Akash from India. Welcome, really appreciate you joining. And then Affiliate Search, Afi from India. Welcome, thanks for hanging out. And Bob, since you asked about the Keezer, are you a home brewer or just a beer drinker or just know people that drink? So while we have just a couple more minutes, I can tell a little story. Sort of ties into niche sites too, in a pretty abstract way. So I used to brew a lot more than I do right now. Just been a little busy, and it was something that I listened to podcasts about. So there's a lot of home brewing podcasts, and I listened to hours and hours and hours for a few years, and kind of got burned out on it as I was, transitioning from being a big home brewer to someone who doesn't brew too often. And I actually was trying to find a new podcast to listen to instead of all my home brewing podcasts. And that's what led me to Smart Passive Income. I just happened to see Pat Flynn's podcast. So I downloaded like 1 or 2 episodes, really loved it. I had no idea about internet marketing or anything at all. I mean, I was kind of blown away by all the concepts. And that was 3 years ago. Oh, actually almost to the day 3 years ago. It was like end of March or April or so. But anyway, I found Smart Passive Income and then started listening to tons and tons of podcasts on internet marketing. In fact, I listened to like all of the Smart Passive Income podcasts back then. Within a couple, I think a couple weeks, there were less than 100 back then. So it was pretty easy to burn through them. But so I stopped brewing as much and stopped doing as many beer things and started doing Amazon affiliate sites. All right, if you're just joining, it is about 1 minute before we'll, get started here. This is the presentation on 3 things you want to avoid, 3 mistakes you want to avoid if you want a profitable Amazon affiliate niche site. We'll be going over the content myth. We'll talk about the perfect Amazon review. We'll look at the keyword golden ratio. And then finally, we'll look at a 5-figure niche site, as well as a Q&A session at the end. So quick reminder, if you have questions, that's great. It'll be best to answer those at the very end. So we'll hold all questions to the end. You have the ability in the chat window. So on the left side, you'll be able to just note it as a question versus just a normal chat. That way it'll go into our questions queue, and it'll just be a little bit easier for us to monitor and answer those and make sure that we're answering all the questions. All right, so we are at the top of the hour. So I'm going to go ahead and put on the presentation here. So like I said, we will get started in just a minute or 2 here. So if you can see my screen, just let me know in the chat here. I've made the window a little smaller so that I'll be able to actually see the chat and make sure that you can see it. And there is about a 30-second delay or so. So if you chat something while I'm doing the presentation, then I actually won't be able to see it because I'm going to be doing this in a full screen situation. But if you chat something to me, it takes about 30 seconds for me to see it. So Dina, thank you. You could see it. Let's see. We are recording this session, and we'll be sending out. I think it'll come out later tonight, but it'll be recorded. It'll be available for a few days only. So, okay. Hey, everyone. It looks like a lot more people are joining, so this is great. I'm just going to let everyone get situated here. Very good. So let us know where you're at in the chat, please. And if you're just logging on, we'll be getting started in just a second. And you're in the right place. This is 3 mistakes you must avoid if you want a profitable niche site. We're going to be looking at the content myth, the perfect Amazon review, the keyword golden ratio, and 5-figure niche site. So Looks like we can get rolling. And okay, Nigeria, Peter in Nigeria, thanks. And then we have Marco from the Netherlands, thanks. We have Justin from Canada, thank you, thank you. And I see someone mentioned the resolution, so I'm not 100% sure on that, but looks like there's a suggestion to make sure you're at high def. All righty, so I'm going to get rolling here. And if it turns out, Jim, if it turns out that anything is going wrong, shoot me a text. I have my phone next to me and I'll see it light up. So, all right. So I've been asking multiple times and really trying to make sure so I know you can see and hear me. And we have a quick question. So have you created a niche site before? And here's one of those situations where I will need to head over to the polls. So it will take 1 second to load. And go ahead and answer that. Let me know your experience level for niche sites. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to look at the content myth. We're going to talk about the perfect Amazon review. We'll look at the keyword golden ratio. And we're going to introduce to you 5-figure niche site. Of course, we'll have the Q&A session at the end. So hold your questions until then. You do have the ability to mark one of your chat messages as a question. So that'll be the best way for us to queue them up. Please keep the questions to something relevant about niche sites, of course, and even better if it's specifically on one of the topics that we're covering today, since there's so much information that we could talk about with niche sites. So niche sites are great. I have been into niche sites for about 3 years or so, and really took a liking to them and had some struggles early on, but eventually I sort of found my way, and it's been a really enjoyable way to learn about internet marketing, sales in general, copywriting. It really introduced me to a whole different level of things that I really had no idea existed at all. If you missed the early story, I basically was into beer brewing quite a bit and listened to a lot of podcasts. And then when I got bored with the beer podcast, I went over to internet marketing stuff through Pat Flynn and Smart Passive Income, which is interesting because, at that time, I think he was, starting to get pretty big, but I went back to his very early podcast from the very beginning and got into those. So that's when I found out about niche sites, and they're really, quite popular. And I think it's the best way to get started in online business. It's kind of a gateway to many other things. If you want to create products or write ebooks or just be a niche site, business owner, that works. And it's a perfect gateway. So I want to talk about a couple people who I've bumped into in the last year or so that are doing well with niche sites. First off is Dave Fox. So he's been featured, actually, I think all of these folks have been featured as success stories on Niche Site Project before. So you may recognize the picture or the story. Of course, we won't go into as many details, but Dave is basically a musician. He teaches, I think, drums, guitar, I think vocal lessons also. And I met him about a year ago. And at this point, he's making about $1,000 per month from a single Amazon affiliate niche site. And I coached him for, I think, 5 or 6 sessions just to get him on the right track. And it's worked out well. In fact, I believe in December and January, he cleared $1,500 a month, which was great. So it settled out to about $1,000 per month right now. Josh Sjogren is a college student, and he has a pretty interesting story. So when I first covered him, I think he had a site that made about 16,000 and some change in a year or so. And I'm not sure if it was the same site, but he recently sold a site for 35,000. And I have that success story queued up, but I haven't published it yet. It's really awesome. A lot of diagrams and stuff. So when that one comes out, be sure to have a look at it. And yeah, so Josh is a college student, and I guess he found his way with Amazon affiliate niche sites. So Dom runs a site called Human Proof Designs, and pretty great site. He also has, I believe, an Amazon affiliate oriented WordPress theme. Actually, I know he has that theme. So it's called Azon Authority, I believe. And recently he sold a site for 25,000. The cool thing is the original story that I covered with him, that particular site was only making $150 per month. So pretty minor. And he grew the site up. If you take a look at the success story, you'll see that he grew the site. He added content, added backlinks, and did what he needed to do to grow the site before he sold it. So the really interesting thing is it's actually a really sort of saturated niche. It is in the shaving niche. So pretty amazing considering there were some case studies in the past dealing with a shaving site. So Dom was able to make that work out. And Rob Atkinson. So I've known Rob for a little while now, and he's recently scaled up. And I was working with him a little bit through some coaching last year, and I can't remember exactly how much he was making at that time, but he needed to scale up. So I went and started working with him one-on-one, looked at where he was getting hung up. I took a look at what systems we could add to his process to sort of take him out of the day-to-day inner workings of, adding content to the site, and it allowed him to grow. So at this point, he's making gross 15 or 16K per month. And I believe his expenses go up and down, but they're roughly, 800 to 1200 per month. So of course, Rob's doing great. Right before I started working with him, he quit his full-time job. So he had, plenty of time to work and dedicate his efforts on expanding. And there are many, many more. So as I mentioned, there's just a absurdly high level of interest in niche sites right now. And it's been interesting to me that some big bloggers are really going back to their roots, and they're doing niche site case studies, working with students that they're coaching, and they're really going back to where they started online. And in fact, some people are going back to niche sites after they tried to start authority sites and they didn't really work out. But I'm sort of digressing right now. The whole point is I like niche sites, and a lot of other people do too. All right, so another question here. How much content do you think you need to launch a niche site? So I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll here for the last one. I believe it should share the results with everyone here. If not, I'll just state them really quick. So 48% of the people that answered said no, they haven't created a niche site. And of course, this is the previous question. So 24% have created a niche site, and 28% have created a niche site, but it never made any money. So cool. Thanks for answering that one. And I'm going to send over the next question about content. All right, and then I'm going to go back to our presentation. Okay, so who am I? Now that I see that picture up, it looks a little creepier than I expected, but that's all right. So who am I? I'm Doug Cunnington, and let's see, I got a quick text from Jim. So looked like, actually, it looks like I'm getting some messages that the slides are not moving. So I'm going to quickly go back. All right, so I went back over to the chat window here. And a lot of people are saying that the window, the chat slides are not moving. All right, so I'm going to try something slightly different here to make sure we're good to go. And that will require me to turn off my video real quick. Thank you for being patient. And I'm going to go ahead and share the entire screen, which I probably should not do. But I want to make sure that this works. All right. So I'm going to wait just for a second here to make sure everyone can see the slide. Please, in the chat, if you can see the slide that has a picture of my wife and I and Brody, our dog, in front of some mountains, let me know. All right, Justin says, you see the slide? I'm Doug. That's cool. That's where we're supposed to be. All right, so what I'll do, all right, cool. A lot of people are saying they see it, so that's great. Thank you for letting me know. All right, and just to be safe, I'm just going to run the presentation from here, and hopefully that will be fine. Thanks everyone for your patience, by the way. Very, very stressful over here. So back to it. If you missed the slide that looked funny, that will be this one here. Let me just make sure. There, that's the one. Who am I? It's way less dramatic if you're looking at it now. But anyway, this slide looks a little funny. So I'm Doug Cunnington, and I generally write about SEO and niche sites, productivity, and project management. I've been featured all over the web, including Ahrefs, Empire Flippers, Niche Pursuits, Side Hustle Nation, and a bunch of other places. And I started my digital career after experiencing quite a bit of success building a few Amazon affiliate niche sites. So I started Niche Site Project to help people create niche sites using project management. And before that, I was your typical sort of worker bee. I had a 9-to-5 gig, although it was probably more like 8-to-8. And I didn't really like it that much, but I learned a lot in a very short time. I did management consulting, so that led me to project management. I'm actually a project management professional, or PMP, and that just means that I've been certified by the Project Management Institute. So project managers can do a lot of things, but one of the defining sort of qualities is that we like systems. So if you have to do something more than once, I usually try to find a way to automate it or make it repeatable. Honestly, part of it's laziness, but the main thing is that I like to be efficient. So I'm going to grab a drink of water here. And we're going to go ahead and get started looking at the content myth. So the content myth, what do I mean here? Content's king, as we've all probably heard before. And I mean, for niche sites, the bottom line is we're trying to provide helpful information, especially an Amazon affiliate niche site, helpful information that help the visitor understand something about the products that they want to buy. So maybe they just want to look at some reviews and understand the properties that they're looking for. So content is definitely important, but what do I really mean here? The thing is, there's some niche site experts that are telling people that they need to publish about 40 pieces of content on their blog before they launch. And I kind of think it's crazy. So I don't know where the 40 posts came from, but I think it's a little too much. So yeah, 40 posts, that's crazy. So let's look at an example though, because who cares what I think? Let's see how it really works in practice. So Jim, our very kind chat moderator today is helping me out with a case study. So he basically just found out about niche sites back in January or so, and his goal is about $2,000 per month. So really tall order there, and it's going to be quite a challenge for sure. And the thing is, though, you can see in this diagram, sorry, it's Google Analytics. So I just want to make sure everyone can see that. So the Google Analytics, you can actually see that obviously there's 10 articles to launch is what I'm sort of proposing here. But you can see there was 0 traffic because that's when the site was created. There was no traffic before that because he bought the domain name on the far left side of that graph. You could also see, traffic is going up each day. In Jim, I'm not sure, I haven't talked to you today, but I'm guessing you're probably having another record high number of people. Now, I know, 10 or 12 or 15 people is not that amazing, but he also just launched his site about 5 weeks ago. So the point is, you only need about 10 articles to launch. Now, the thing that we've implemented here is what I call the content traffic profit sprint. So as you can see, it's quite simple there. There's a concept in Agile, which is called a sprint. Now, Agile is just a kind of project management that's really popular right now, and that's really all you need to know about it. The main idea, though, is you need to get a shippable product as soon as possible. So if you've ever heard of the minimum viable product, or MVP, from the book called The Lean Startup, then you probably know the idea. The thing is, you can apply this sort of MVP and sprint idea to almost anything. And that's what we've done here. So when I hear, you need to publish 40 articles to launch a niche site, I ask, why and how can we shorten that? Well, it turns out I don't know if there's a good reason why, but if instead you publish, say, 10 articles, and then you work on your traffic side through what, specifically what Jim has done is he went out and commented on different blogs, I think like 5 per day for like 20 or 30 days. Many of those are approved. He re-commented on some sites that he liked and basically networked and developed a relationship with those people. He got some referral traffic for people that actually clicked through his comments. So that's cool. That's a nice organic way to get traffic over, although not organic traffic. It's a natural way in which a person can get traffic to their niche site. And then the other part of the traffic formula is he's going in, after he has a relationship with these bloggers, he's able to go and ask for a guest post, which he's done. And that went really well. So at this point, he's going to have, a pretty decent chunk of guest posts out there with only 10 pieces of content, which seems crazy. It turned this whole, long process upside down. And of course, after you get traffic, you do have the ability to profit, which is the whole goal. That's why everyone's on the call, probably. So it's pretty simple. I sort of outlined it there, but basically it's a 4-step process of publish content, get backlinks, and do promotion. The traffic comes, and then you rinse, lather, and repeat. So that's all there is to it. And by the way, back to the graph here, it does work. And Jim has like 5 guest posts in the pipeline or so. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, it's working out really, really well. And I'm going to hop back over to the chat here for a second. James tells me the slides are blurry. Some people can see stuff. Okay, that's good enough as long as we can see it. And I believe, hopefully, fingers crossed, the replay may be a little bit more clear. So I'm going to head back over to the poll, and sorry about all of that. So, okay, lots of people answered this question right. And okay. Let's go back to the keynote so we don't have that Inception type view there. All right, so okay, so another poll. Do you have trouble finding keywords or niche site ideas? And then we'll go over to the perfect Amazon review. And now I see I should have set that poll earlier. So thanks everyone for being super patient with me on this new tool that I'm using. All right, and we are back to it. So the perfect Amazon review. Boom, that is it. So in a nutshell, there's a lot of content here on this one page, and it's a terrible slide for that reason, but I just wanted you to see it all together, the perfect Amazon review. So as you can see, there are something like 9 sections here, probably no surprises here at all. And this is really just kind of a guideline. I mean, you can change this to whatever you want. So if this specific review sort of assumes there's multiple models of a particular item that you want to review, but if not, then it doesn't matter. You can adapt it and change it as you need to. So let's, I don't want to try and force you to read it here. So I'm just going to go over each one of the sections. But first, probably a big question is how many words and what's the word count for an Amazon review? So for me, that's all I can answer for. So for me, I do a minimum of 800 words for even like the lowest volume keywords that may show, 10 search results per month, or even 0. I'll write 800 words just because you sort of need that much content to talk about something thoroughly if you want to hit, all the points. How long can it be? Well, probably like 4,000 or 5,000 words. And I sort of scale along that range depending on the keyword volume and the competition. In a similar way to the sort of iterative approach that I mentioned for the content traffic profit sprint, your content can grow. So let's say you launch your site and maybe one of your main posts only has 1,500 words. That's cool. Like maybe you just need to like get that published and start getting some backlinks out there and start working on some other aspects of the site. When you have time, you could go back and add another 2,000 words should that topic warrant more content. So back to each of the sections, we have the article title. So this is basically the headline. And you basically want to use something that is attention getting and it's keyword rich. So that's pretty simple and really no surprises there. The intro paragraph. So the main idea here is you want to get the reader engaged with your review. So just get them to read, one more line and sort of be interested. Now, what I really like to do is qualify the reader. So I may ask something like, hey, are you looking for a great blender or something like that? Maybe it's more specific, but sort of qualify them to show them they're in the right place. Questions are a great way to do that. In addition, I like to have an affiliate link in that intro paragraph for people that are in a hurry. So some people like to have a button in place or something like that. I usually just do a text link, but just people that are in a rush, I want to give them a way to get over to Amazon quickly. At this point, I like to put an image in so people can see what the product looks like. Of course, only use images that you have permission to use. And one great way to be safe with that is to use the Amazon associate tool to actually insert your images. That you have the permission to use those. Other images may be ones you take on your own. Of course, you could use those, but definitely want to make sure you have permission to use images. Up next is a comparison table, and that's really the best way to present specs, especially if you have multiple products to review. If it's a single product, I still like to put a table in there. It's kind of a nice way to break up the text and present, some of the specs on just a single item. And next, you can put a few paragraphs on key features on the particular items. So depending on the product and how long you want it to be, you could really dive deep, put 10 paragraphs about the different features that may be relevant to the product, or you may just add one or two if it's something that doesn't really warrant that much information. If it's a review for multiple products, you'll want to talk about the features and the pros and cons for each model. You should put an image in there of the specific model. You should also put an affiliate link to get to each model. And you want to, be honest with the information you're providing. It is a pet peeve of mine. So it's sort of suspect if you say every item is great and you should get it. I sort of like to have a favorite and a least favorite, just so it, seems real. Next is customer impressions. So this is like the review section. Now, a lot of people recently I've heard have been getting banned from the whole Amazon Associate Program, which is a big deal. And I've heard, rumor is some of those people have had, quotes or excerpts of the Amazon reviews in their post. So Amazon didn't like that. The bottom line is you should probably not do that at all. Don't copy and paste it. Don't even put an excerpt. But instead, what you ought to do is read a lot of the reviews, get a good understanding of the pros and cons, and write it out that way. You could also do the same in certain forums. So forums, depending on what they are, can have tons of information in there, and that's a great way to get it. The other thing I like to do is put a link directly to the reviews page. So you can use your Amazon affiliate link to send them over to the reviews page. And you can simply say, hey, go over to Amazon and read the reviews there. Real users have their information there. And then that's a great way to get them over to Amazon by clicking on your link. And last, the conclusion. So summarize the overall review. I like to use bullet points because people like to skim articles. Leave the reader with a call to action. So check out some item on Amazon or something. Leave them with something to do. Okay, and I will head over here, and I'm actually going to stop sharing for a second. We'll end the poll. And hopefully everybody saw the poll results. So do you have trouble finding keyword and niche ideas? 16% said no, I have too many ideas. 16% said no, I do fine. And 68% said, I don't know which niche to pick. So it's pretty tough, and that is understandable. So I'm going to get started on this next part, which is the keyword golden ratio. So it'll take a second here, but I actually recorded this a little earlier. I'm going to load that up, and it should play for you. So I'll be able to get this All right. I think we should be back from the video, and I'm not sure. It's unclear to me if everyone was able to see the video. Okay. I see a couple chats coming through there. So thanks for the help. I do appreciate it. I haven't used Webinar Jam before, but anyway, the point is I'm not sure if people were able to see the video for the keyword golden ratio. I hope so. If not, I can send you the link directly. So just give me a shout and let me know if you weren't able to see it. But yeah, just let me know. I believe the video is actually HD on the YouTube side, so it should work really, really well. So I'm going to head back over to the presentation here. Okay, and the KGR is something that I really like. It's been working great for Jim. And I sort of want to issue a challenge to anyone, especially if you have a site in place and it's, I guess out there and published and that sort of thing. But test the KGR for your own niche. So go and find some keywords. They're probably going to be pretty low as far as the search volume. 10, 20, maybe even up to the low 100 or so, low 100. So you'll want to look under 250. But if you test it and you see how quick you rank, just imagine if you get a couple backlinks to those pages. Now, you could even do internal linking if you have a site that has enough, authority in place already. All right, and moving on. So we did go over the content myth. We went over the perfect Amazon review, and I'll be able to send you like a high resolution image so everyone can have a copy of that as well. We talked about the keyword golden ratio. I hope everyone was able to see it, at least to hear what was going on in the concept behind the whole thing. And coming up next, I want to, I guess, talk a little bit about what we looked at. So you can take the stuff that we learned today and, do nothing and potentially keep struggling. Or you could take what we learned today and go it alone. Now, I think we provided some pretty good content, I think, as far as the golden ratio, especially where you could take that, apply it immediately and probably in less than a week, start getting more traffic than you normally would have been getting on your site. So that's great. And the thing is, you can take what you learned and you can follow a step-by-step system for getting it right. And it's something that can work for any niche site. And you showed up today because you did want to learn about the content myth. You wanted to learn about the perfect Amazon review and the keyword golden ratio because you know that it'll help you create a profitable niche site. And that's why I want to show you how to take this information you learned today and turn it into a system of actionable steps that when you follow them, they'll allow you to finally grow your niche site the right way. So I developed a brand new training that shows you how to build an Amazon affiliate niche site the right way and grow it in a massive way. And that is 5-figure niche site. And it is 7 units of video lessons. So I cover everything from finding a niche and brainstorming to picking a domain, picking a theme. I show you everything behind the scenes, including all my tips and tricks that I know. I don't hold anything back. It's literally several hours of training, over-the-shoulder tutorials, and real-life examples. There are over 25 video lessons, and it's basically a proven, repeatable blueprint. So as I mentioned before, I'm a project manager, and that means I'm an expert in setting up systems. That's exactly what I've done for niche sites. I've been able to create a system that not just works for me, but it also works for other people that I teach. So I want to give you a quick overview of what's in this course. So unit 1 is all about finding your niche. I'll show you techniques for generating ideas. I'll give a primer on keywords and the keyword golden ratio, which you should be pretty familiar with. I'll also go over research tools as well, keyword research tools, and then tie it all together. Next is unit 2, where I cover competition analysis and niche selection. I'll go over 2 of the most important factors, in my opinion, for SEO. I'll go over the tools that I use for competition analysis and metrics for choosing a niche. And that includes spreadsheets that I use to understand how competitive a niche is and whether I want to choose it or not based on an analytical, data-driven approach. In unit 3, we'll talk about setting up your site. So that is part of choosing a domain. We're going to look at setting up WordPress and selecting a host. Of course, WordPress usually is a one-click install, so that's a no-brainer. But I'll also look at the baseline pages that you need, like a disclaimer, about, contact page, and I'll go over the plugins that I think are critical to have and why you probably don't want to put too many plugins on your site. Unit 4 is all about creating and publishing content, the value of content, how to write product reviews, and where to get content. So I have a pretty nice system and set of templates to hire writers at a great rate. So I typically get US college educated writers that can write an article for, roughly 1,000-word article for, $18 to $20 or so. Unit 5 is all about applying to the Amazon Associate Program. So I'll talk about getting ready to apply, actually applying, and then what to do if you're denied. Now, there have been a decent number of people that have been denied, and I understand the reasons why. So I could help you, make sure that you get accepted on the first time around. Unit 6 is all about promotion, outreach, and link building. So we'll go over the actual goals of what we're trying to do here. We'll also look at what I believe is the first step, and that's blog commenting, and then move on to social profiles and guest posting. Now, this is exactly what I'm going over with Jim, and that's what he's working through. And I could show you the graph again, but I'm sure you recall traffic's going up, and he only has 10 posts on this site. One quick thing to note, so in unit 6, this is all white hat link building. So there's no gray hat, there's no PBNs or Web 2.0s or any sort of sneaky tactics in there. This is stuff that Google would like. And then unit 7 is scaling up and building more sites. So one mistake that I made was I tried to scale too soon before I was ready. So one thing that I really like to go over is when to scale and when not to scale. I'll also talk about being a manager and sort of getting out of the day-to-day minutia. This is really similar to what I worked with Rob. Then we have a couple bonus units. So this is advanced link building in unit 8, and that is some gray hat concepts where I go over Web 2.0s. I'll talk about private blog networks also, and a few other gray hat tricks that I have up my sleeve. And last, and quick note, so the gray hat stuff, you can choose to do it or you don't have to do it. It is totally fine if you want to or if you don't want to. So there's a risk element involved, and as long as you understand that, you can choose what you want to do. And the other bonus is unit 9. That's interviews with successful niche site owners. So that's Rob and I there chatting over some things. The kegerator was still behind me back then. So if you've been thinking about niche sites for a while, you should probably buy this course. So I showed you the content myth and the perfect Amazon review along with the keyword golden ratio. And there are some things that you can't learn from blog posts and podcasts. I mean, you just can't pick it up. So especially, you can't do that without trial and error and sort of guessing what you have to do. Plus, I know what it's like to build a niche site on your own, and it could be pretty tough to take action all on your own. You may end up picking a niche that's too competitive, or even worse, you could pick something that's not even profitable. I've done that before and learned the hard way. Plus, in this course, you'll have a support team to ask. So if you are not sure about a niche or you have a question about the process, you can ask. You can get an answer from qualified people, mainly me, and then you'll have the confidence to move forward. So one thing I want to note is a webinar only bonus for today. So it expires at midnight tonight, roughly 11 hours from now. So you'll get a free bonus of a premium WordPress theme of your choice. So these two here, you could have one or the other, but not both. So the Ultimate Azon theme and Authority Azon. So you can check those out on your own. But if you purchase before the end of the day today's Wednesday. So if you get it in the next 11 hours, you'll be getting a free theme here. Okay, so you do have a decision to make today. There are 3 levels of membership. So we'll look at the premium first, which is limited, and you'll understand why in a moment. So the premium level, you get access to all 7 units, 25 video lessons. You get access to the private Facebook group, 60 days of priority email support. You will get access to the bonus lessons. So that's units 8 and 9 on advanced link building, as well as the success story interviews. In addition, you'll also get 8 Q&A sessions via webinar. So those will be held every week or so through the duration of the course. You'll also get 8 30-minute sessions with me one-on-one. So that's why there's only 8 spots. That is $247 per month for 6 months. There is also an option in all of these to save 15% by paying in full, if that's something that you would like to do. The other option, or the second option, is the advanced level. So similarly, you get access to all 7 units, 25 video lessons, Facebook group, 60 days of the priority email support, access to the bonus lessons, that's link building, advanced link building, and the success story interviews. Plus, you get the Q&A sessions, the 8 Q&A sessions via webinar. And I forgot to mention the price, $157 per month for 6 months for the advanced level. And then the basic is access to all 7 units, of course, the 25 video lessons, the private Facebook group, and 60 days of priority email support. This one's just $99 a month for 6 months. And you'll be able to save 15% by paying in full. And I am going to pop over here for one moment. The screen may go blank. So you should see an offer hopefully popping up next to you. And this takes you over to the main page, the main sales page, which you can get more information there. Okay, and you're fully protected by 100% satisfaction guarantee. So if you decide that 5-figure niche site is not for you over the next 60 days, just let me know and I'll issue you a refund. So obviously you see the quote, I stand by the 5-figure niche site system and I believe it can work for you. And if not, it's no problem. Customer service and satisfaction are my #1 priority. And let's see here. All right. So I really do think the course can help you if you're serious about if you're serious about, I guess, getting started with a niche site and you want to stop trading time for money. If you are serious about niche sites, then you need to start taking it seriously. And as I said before, you do have a decision to make. If you've tried niche sites before in the past and you haven't found success, maybe now is the time to try something different. So you do need to take action before it's too late. It is a limited time offer, and it's not some kind of false scarcity either. This is the first release of the product, and I can only accept a limited number of people in the course. I want to improve it later on, and I can only accept a certain number. So the thing is, you probably realize it's a waste of time to try and learn about niche sites and blog posts and podcasts on your own. There's a sea of information out there, and most people are drowning in it. So you should ask yourself what it costs you not to enroll in 5-figure niche sites. All right. So if you're interested in 5-figure niche sites, you should be able to see an offer, a little window on the right side, and you can click over to check it out. There's more information over on that page. All right. And we made it to the Q&A section. So I'm going to try and head back over to the chat window here. Stop sharing. Okay, and I know there's about a 30-second delay here. So I'm going to go through, I see some questions listed here, so I'm going to go through and try and answer them. Okay, so this question from Jim: how much time is required to run a successful niche site? So in the early stages of a niche site, it takes a decent amount of time. So this is one of the situations where it's front loaded quite a bit. So you can, so if you want to get the course and work through the material, it should take 5 to 7 hours per week or so, because you're working on some very specific stuff and you do a certain activity each week and then you move on. Some people, like I know Jim, our moderator, Jim Horner from the case study, he is putting in a lot more time. He's probably putting in almost a full-time amount of effort and hours into his niche site, but he's also, he's not working another job. So the question is, how much time is required to run a successful niche site? I would say baseline for the first, say, 4 to 6 months, you may have to put in about 1 hour per day. You can do, all of that in one day on the weekend if you want, but if you do 1 hour per day, that's usually pretty good. Once it's in place, then it's kind of stable. Once you start getting traffic, you usually don't, lose it, especially if you're not doing any sort of weird link building tactics. And once that is done, you can either grow the site out more, keep putting in 1 hour per day, adding more content, getting more backlinks, or you could build new sites. I kind of prefer, just working on fewer sites myself, just because it's easier for me to manage that way. So I hope I answered your question. And moving on. All right. And then let's see, Huge, he has asked the question, are niche sites still working? Yes. Yes, they are. They're still working. All right. So moving on to other questions I see here. Pardon me while I take a drink. I usually don't talk that much. All right, the question is from Huge. So this is in reference, this is in reference to the keyword golden ratio and using the all-in title. So the question is, do you need quotes in the all-in title? And what I've shown Jim in the example, we do not use quotes. So if you use quotes, then you are looking for the exact match, and that is sort of a more strict criteria to search for. So you'll get fewer results. However, if you don't use the quotes, then that means you'll get sort of a more realistic view. So you'll get more results, but it kind of gives you, I guess, it's a more aggressive way to look at it, because it really only shows you the ones that are quite easy to rank for. Alrighty, and I see Jim also answered that question, so thanks for that. And I'm moving through. Huge. Another question here. How much information do I need on a brand new niche site to get approved by Amazon? Okay, so it depends, but I've heard people like not have much content at all, like just a handful of pages, like 5 or 6. So I think when I launched my first site, I had like 8, and the guideline that I'll just answer the question instead of adding so many qualifiers. 10, do what Jim did. Get 10 articles out there, apply to Amazon, start doing link building. So go back to that sprint and you'll see, put 10 articles up and apply. It'll be really good if you have articles that are not just affiliate articles and you have some other content on there to make it, more blog-like. That's really kind of what, Amazon wants. They want real people recommending products. All right. And Lou, do you need to apply to the Amazon Associates program before you start writing your reviews? So no. And let's see, do you need to apply before you start writing your reviews? I think I sort of answered it before implicitly. So what you would like to do is have, some content out there, 10 pieces of content, some of it affiliate, some of it not, and then apply then. You'll have a much better chance to get approved. All right, thanks, Lou. The question from Huge is, when is the best time to apply for the Amazon Associate Program for your first site? Okay, probably a repeat question. So I believe we should just say there after 10 articles. Okay, Richard asks, how many niche sites do you have right now, and how much money are you making per month total? So right now I have about, let's see, I'm working on, I think, 2 main projects right now. I don't disclose how much I'm making per month. However, I can tell you for one particular niche site case study that I'm working on, one of those sites is making about $300 a month. So nothing crazy on that side. And like I said, I don't disclose my earnings like some other marketers. So I hope that answers your question, Richard. And James asked, what is the link again? Which I'm not actually sure what you're asking about. So if you want to rephrase it, then maybe that'll help. I'm not sure which link you're looking for. And moving on to Alejandro, thanks for the question here. So this is, what would be a good number of articles to post per month? So it depends. I actually don't look at it that way at all. So I guess it's not relevant for what I'm looking at. So whatever, it sounds like you may have a different approach, but I don't necessarily think you need a certain number per month. Another way to look at it, I would say, is you can have various sprints. So maybe, right now Jim's doing this, content traffic profit sprint currently, and he is, he published 10 articles. He's going out and getting links to it, and after he does some work in that for a few weeks, he'll probably go back and add some more articles. And those articles are, strategically picked based on your keyword volume, how competitive they are, and the keyword golden ratio. So it's very clear where he needs to be spending his time and effort. So he'll publish another, say, 5 articles, maybe not 10 this time, and then go get more backlinks, so he gets more traffic. So he gets more traffic to his site, and they buy stuff. So I didn't exactly answer your questions, is because I don't like to look at it that way. So otherwise, if you're looking to publish a certain number of articles per month, then that's kind of like a media company or something like that. So at this point, for my particular site, I'm looking at, not adding content for a little while. I'm looking at, getting the pages that I have on my site that are close to ranking as high as I can get them, number one, if I can. In that way, I will utilize, what I have. I'll utilize the content to the maximum that I possibly can. So, okay, Alejandro, thanks for the question. And I think a lot of people may have that, and I just have a different outlook on it based on the content traffic profit sprint. Okay. And all right, Marco, so you got to go. Thanks for checking it out. And okay, so I think that may be all the questions. We'll hang on just for a minute here just to make sure. Looks like we still have a couple people around here. And all right. And I think if anyone had, I see someone mentioned the link, and it may have been the offer tab, so I probably should have been smarter about that. So if you do want to check out the offer, if you just go to fivefigurenichesite.com, that's where it's at. In addition, you'll get, I'll send out some other emails. So I know people will probably have questions about it. In fact, if you have more questions, just let me know. But I'll send out some emails where you'll get more information and links to it and that sort of thing. So. All right. Looks like I said, we're coming up towards the end here. So if you have any questions, be sure to ask now. Otherwise, we'll cut out here in just a couple minutes. All right. I think someone just asked a question, but I'm having trouble seeing it. So I'm going to try and open it in another window here. Give me one moment. All right, it's taking just a minute to load here, but hopefully I'll be able to see the chat. Which it doesn't look like I can, so that's kind of funny. Yeah, for some reason, I cannot see the chat window. All right, I will try one more thing here. It's funny. It's like part of the chat window is covered up. So I'm just going to type a message in here to take up some space. And I think it'll push it down so I can see it. Okay. So Marco's question is it's quite a hack to get to the question. So Marco asked, how do you use the correct images in your review posts when you're not yet an Amazon affiliate member? Can we already use Amazon product images? That's a great question. So what you that's a great question, which I did not think of. You know what? I may need to research it. I haven't heard anyone having issues doing that specifically. So you may be able to do it. And then when the time comes when you're approved, which seems crazy, they would approve you if you're doing something they don't like. But I know it happens. The other thing you can do is, find, I guess, either royalty-free images or Creative Commons images. And when you think about it that way, you may need to focus on like sort of non-affiliate, non-sales type informational post. So that's another thing that you should have on your site. I like to have roughly 50% affiliate content and 50% sort of just informational, helpful posts that are not necessarily product keyword rich. So there are a lot of keywords like that sort of apply. So I hope that answers your question. Really good one, Marco. I may need to research that one a little bit. The other thing you can do is write sort of curated type posts in which you can use images from other people's blogs, link back to them, give them credit. You'll see this a lot on BuzzFeed type articles, Huffington Post. There's tons of media companies that use this sort of curated post stuff. In fact, a lot of bloggers do it too, and it's sort of accepted. Even though you're using it sort of without permission, the link back sort of makes it right. So you can't do that for all sites, but if it's just a blogger and you can tell that it's just a blogger, you can usually get away with it. All right, great question, Marco. And I believe that is all the questions. And Marco says it's a bit of a chicken egg situation. That's right. That is exactly right. All right. And I'll ask one more time. Any more questions? I'll wait for about 30 seconds to make sure it goes through. And I think we may be able to end this guy down. All right. And I'm just checking from Jim. A couple text messages. Okay. All right, it looks like we're good to go. So thanks everyone for attending. Really appreciate it. Thanks for helping me work through the technical difficulties, and hopefully it wasn't too rough there at the beginning. I hope you got a lot out of it. So I'll actually go and I'll send out the PDF of the perfect Amazon review, and I'll also include a link to the keyword golden ratio video in case you had trouble viewing it or you want to see the actual demo again. You'll be able to watch in HD. I mean, you could put it in double speed if you want to get through it a little faster, but hopefully that should be helpful for everyone. And thanks again. Check out 5-Figure Niche Site. It'll only be for sale for a few more days here, so you have a little bit of time to figure it out. But kind of the time frames you're looking at here are end of day Sunday is when it's not for sale anymore, and it's a pretty rigorous course. 7 units in there, lots of video, lots of work to do, but it's really focused and step by step. So hope you'll check it out. And talk to you soon. See ya.